Here we go. Are we live?
Like we're live, yeah.
We didn't get a countdown. I forgot to hit the countdown. What's up, everybody? I just hit go live, so we're just live. I'm sitting here waiting for a countdown. What's up?
I was wondering about that, but what's going on, everyone?
Yeah.
Jake here with Uncommon EDC.
Screw the countdown.
Andy here from RoseCraft Blades.
What's up, Andy? How are you, brother?
Oh, I'm tired, guys. We've been checking in knives all week. I mean, it's only Tuesday. And it feels like all week at this point, but we've gotten through, I would say, probably in the last 2 days, over 500 knives, checking them in. And that's a joy and just a pain. My back is killing me. My fingers barely want to move, but it is what it is. We try to have the best quality we can for you, and that's what you have to do. You have to open every single knife, look at it all the way around, look it back up, wrap it back up, put it back in the box, and move right on to the next knife. So that's what we've been doing for the last 2 days.
So what are you checking in? What's coming next?
Well, I will tell you, we had the Cane Creek Jack, which was this one, guys. If you remember this little guy, we reordered him, and we ended up putting this little fella in this beautiful red sandalwood as well. Look at that.
Oh, look at the grain on that one.
Look at the back. This one went right to my pocket because it has that little knot right there in the middle.
Yeah, I would claim that one too. If I were you, that would be like, that one's mine.
Do you know what's sad is I found so many more that are better than this and just put them in the boxes. There were so many gems that we went through today. I was just like, we would just all stop and go, look at this, look at this. And then you have to not put it in your pocket and put it in the box for somebody else to have, which is hard sometimes. I'll just tell you, sometimes I want to take all of them with me because they're that good. We have that coming. And then we've been also checking in. We'll start checking in more of these tomorrow. If you guys remember the Zambezi, this funky knife right here.
That's one of my favorites.
We've got this one coming now in blue denim micarta, like you see it. And if you remember this knife, this is one with the 1-inch finger choil, like so.
Yeah.
And then we've got a blue denim micarta, and we're also doing it in rosewood.
Oh, so hell yeah.
You have, I know, right? That one's just sexy.
Yeah, it's got almost like a crosshatch pattern on that.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Jake. It's got like a crosshatch. It almost looks like
it almost looks like a saw cut.
Yeah, saw cut.
So like if you look at it, it looks like the saw came through like that and went through and hit that major streak in the wood. But these are gorgeous too. And I thought, hey, we got a workers version and a classy version. Those will be out. They'll ship to dealers probably at the end of this week and beginning of next week, and we'll probably drop them probably either, I don't know yet, sometime next week. Sometime next week, we will drop both of those onto the website so everybody can grab them, and your dealers will have them too.
What's the polish like on that denim micarta? Does it have any fabric, or is it like a high polish?
It does not have any. It is a high polish because we do the pins, right?
Yeah,
so yeah. Do these pins, you almost can't do a texture to it. Just polishing those pins flush make the micarta flush. But I thought this one looks a little bit different than the rest of the micarta. It looks very denim versus it looks very textury versus some of the other micartas. And you can see it there. Look,
yeah. I was going to ask the same question because it looks a little bit textury.
Yeah, you could probably rough it up, but I wouldn't suggest that, to be honest.
Right.
It's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's got some good.
Yeah, I want like green like that, or maybe even tan. And we could do a Mr. Green Jeans Nola Chucky. That'd be fun, right?
There you go. Yeah. There's a good question. You want to take that? Andy, Kathleen wants to know what was the inspiration behind the Zambezi?
I wanted to, so years ago, I made a bartender's knife that was called the Barback. And it had a similar, I've had this idea for a long time to put a forward finger choil into a traditional knife. And what that encompasses is having to put in part of that finger choil into the bolster. Yeah. And I just had that vision a long time ago on the barback that we did for Rough Rider Reserve.
Yeah.
You see it in the Clinch River swayback, but this was really the knife that I got it right. Yeah. It's 1 inch. It feels great. It's a great little utility 5th pocket knife. And this bad boy will rip some boxes for you.
I love it.
Zambezi means bull shark. And I just thought that because it kind of looks like a bull shark when you look at it in its profile wild. So,
yeah. Definitely.
That's the one that Randy's WSG Randy almost took his damn finger off with playing with that one. But Randy does that a lot. So like,
first time won't be the last.
Yeah. So
I have talked to several people who are, when I was at Blade Show, especially Blade Show Texas, I had a guy come to me and tell me that he uses his Zambezi every day. He carries it in his fifth pocket in his work pants. He works construction and he uses it all day long to open concrete bags. He just whips it out, pops it open, and it's a strong enough grip that he can just sit there and rip that bag straight open and dump them in the machine. So think about the grit and the gunk that goes in his knife, and it's still functioning fine for him after like 6 months. So that D2 and these knives, the heat treat must be spectacular. I cannot thank my factory enough for getting that just right, because holy cow, Scab ran that one for 41 days and it didn't go dull. That was the Beaver Creek Barlow of all ones. And he's doing sandblasting all day. So, you know.
And cutting all that
people forget
industrial crap with it, you know.
Yeah, people forget that these were work knives for hundreds of years. That was your work knife. There were no liner locks. There were no frame locks. There was none of that. You carried a slip joint in your pocket and you used it.
Right.
So I was thinking about this before the show, so I'm going to put you on the spot. I was trying to narrow it down to my 5 favorite RoseCraft traditionals. And that's really hard to do because I like all of them. Some of them more than others. You know, I like the single blades more than the double blades, but I still love the double blades. If you had to just pick your 5 favorite for whatever reason, doesn't matter, no particular order, what would it be?
First off is the easy one. It's the Clinch River Swayback. It won Import Knife of the Year. It's my baby. I mean, like fully my baby, based on a traditional old pattern, but has a whole lot of newfangled stuff to it. That's probably my favorite pattern overall that we've done, because it is truly my baby. For carrying in your pocket and cutting, the Beaver Creek Barlow, holy crap, that knife. I don't know what it is about that knife. It has piercing power and cutting power that I had no idea was there when we drew it up and got it made. But I love that knife. And in particular, I like the bourbon bone version of it versus the gray bone. They're both great. I've carried both. They both function exactly alike, but I like the bourbon bone just a little bit better. What next?
That's where it gets hard.
So I get stuck on the toss-up between the regular gun stock because of that spade shield and the stag gun stock. To me, the stag is just prettier, and I like that very old school kind of looking knife. I mean, I've got one sitting right here, but like this gun stock feels so good in your hand that I was shocked at how good it feels in your hand. And then you add this kind of girth to it.
Right. It's that girth that makes it.
I mean, it just feels great as you use it the whole time. But when I look at the knives side by side and you see the gun stock, the original has that sexy little spade shield in it. Look, so you can see I've been using this one. Got like either cat snot or something on it on the blade. But this one to me, it's just pretty. So what have we like 3 so far?
Yep. Let's
see. I would probably have to put the Nolachucky in there somewhere just because, shout out to George Westenholm. He couldn't do it any better than that. And it's just taken right off an old IXL pattern that's a couple hundred years old and just a fantastic knife. Plus that vintage moss brown bone. It's the same bone that's in that new moose. Right. It just turned out gorgeous. Yeah. He's got it right there. Jake's got it right there. Oh gosh, so Nolachucky, we have to have one more, right? It gets hard, doesn't it?
It does,
because you have things like the French Broad Jack, which is like a great cutter and it slides in your pocket easy. You have things like the new Otter Creek Barlow, which is just a sexy knife and slides easy in the pocket, and then you get funky stuff like that Cane Creek Jack. So to me, it's almost a toss-up once you get to 5. But I think I'll pick, just because the traditional nature of it and kind of getting to play with that nature of it, I think I'll pick the French Broad Jack. And we have those both now, and I guess you guys saw those. Those are in
that's so
rosewood cool. And in black sandalwood. The black sandalwood looks almost like ebony. Yeah. So to me, that is just, you can use that as a steak knife, man. Till I've been checking in knives, my whole hand's shaking there trying to hold that up.
Your hands have got the cramps.
It's their time of the month, Tim.
Yeah. So for me, top 5, the first three are pretty much easy. Number one is still that one. That's just, I can't quit that knife ever. That's my absolute favorite.
It is such a box killer, man.
It's just amazing. I love but I love a sway back pattern and a worn clip, and a finger choil, and this has all of it, right? So that might be my favorite slip joint ever, not just RoseCraft.
Thank you.
Yeah, easily. So in no particular order, I'm just gonna say both of these because I couldn't pick one if I had to. The Beaver Creek and the Otter Creek, you know,
I'm glad you're showing those on the screen at the same time too, Tim, because I think a lot of people thought we were just going to stick a clip point on the same Barlow body. And when you look at them side by side, they are not the same. And you did a great job in your video showing that there is a difference between those two, and there's a difference between the Lusahatchee Jack. They're all three different bodies on those knives, that though they are in the same similar rail, 3.625 inches to 3.5 inches closed, just right around 6 or 6.25 open, that kind of thing. So yeah, they're all a little bit different.
And you can see the blade on that Lusahatchee, and the frame is just completely different. So this one's in there, the Lusahatchee Jack. I do love the original one with the dragon, bourbon bone dragon scale. Don't have that on my desk right now. So the Clinch River sway back. Let me pop it up there. You got to show them that. Good.
We'll do that again at some point. She is residing in the dragon's lair of the vault right now. We'll get her back at some point. We sold a bunch of those, and I thought, let's put them away for a while. Let's bring in some new stuff. Let somebody have a chance.
And when you drop them again, they're going to go fast because, you know, supply and demand. So I'm going to go with the Clinch River, the two Barlows, the Lusahatchee Jack. Then, of course, you have to have the Nola Chucky. Don't know what it is. I think, like you were saying, it's just that Wostenholm traditional pattern. And I also think it's the size of this knife.
Yeah.
It's deceptively big.
Yes.
It is deceptively big because it is not that big handle-wise.
And then it gets impossible after that. I love the French Broadjack. I love the new Tanasi Lake Teardrop. And I also love the Zambezi, which I know is very polarizing. That's one of those ones kind of like the kayak you did back in the day for Rough Rider Reserve, where it was like people love it or hate it. I love it. And then there's so many others, but yeah, it's hard. There's so many out now. It's hard to just nail it down to 5. I mean,
it gets hard for me, Tim, in that we I'm thinking ahead. Like I'm in the middle of designing round 6 right now. You guys still have one knife left to go in round 4, and then there are 5 more knives to come in round 5. So it's just one of those things where, in my head, I'm like feel like I'm behind, but I'm not. I keep forgetting that there's a whole round of 5 more knives to come, and sometimes the owner of RoseCraft Blades contacted me last night and was like, "Hey, I've got this friend in Seattle. I'd love you to put together just as many of the knives that we have in stock. He wants to find one that he wants to get engraved for his entire work staff." Right. So here I am going through, and I'm like, "Holy crap, we've got a lot of knives at this point." Right, because it's not just 15 models at this point or 20 models; it's 20 plus their reorders in different materials.
Right.
And that's just traditionals. You know, that's not even touching the modern side.
So speaking of the moderns, I'm loving these 3 new ones. So I originally started with the Easton, and this is an absolute freaking bruiser. I have abused this thing, and it just keeps right on going. Now I'm currently working with the Bowfin. I've been carrying this and using it mostly in the backyard. I've got like some gardens back there growing vegetables and stuff, but so I use.
How does it feel in the pocket to you?
It feels fine.
Is it too big? Does it feel good? Does it Because I think, like, when I first saw it and we saw it come in, I was like, holy crap, that's big. That's a Chase Snyder design, and he did a great job on it. I think it's a sexy, sexy knife. But I thought, man, that is a big knife. But if it carries good, to me, it's worth it.
To me, it carries good. I'm the wrong person to ask, though, because I don't mind carrying a big knife. For some people, I can see how this would be too big and too heavy. For me, it's not. What I love about this knife is that it wants you to be up here in that finger. It's just screaming for you to get up in there and really dig in. And I like that. And so I haven't even really got to use the walleye yet. You know what I mean? That's coming next. I'm working through the other two still, but I'm loving these, what you're doing with the new modern stuff compared to what.
Can we just give a little pause and give a round of applause to people who are junior designers at RoseCraft for those 3 knives? Because Swags, Hawkins Rose, and Chase Snyder, they had an interest in designing knives when they came on board and we started putting this all together, but they had no experience doing it. Right. So it has been working with them, and I believe that these 3 are better than anything they've done before. And I also believe that they're closer to their own, what was in their head kind of designs that hit the paper, then hit the factory, or honed down to be the exact right thing. I think they did a hell of a job. So to me, a round of applause for them, because I love to see them stepping into the game and making something that turns out that people really like. We've sold quite a few of those Eastons, and we've sold a lot of the Bowfins.
Yeah, for sure. And it would be great to, I was going to say, it'd be great to get them on the show one of these days.
I spoke to Andy about that, and he said that shit's not happening because
I would have to give Chase Snyder a tranquilizer to get him on the show. And it probably wouldn't be that talkative once we do that. And we, of course, have Hawkins and Swags on paternity leave with little Briarland just born. Yeah, so he asked me about that, and I said, I don't think it's going to happen this time for sure. But, who knows? Down the road, maybe they'll get back on and do that kind of thing. And maybe we'll even have a little Briarland on showing some knives one day.
Heck yeah. I'd love to have the whole crew on the show. That would be awesome. One thing I was going to say that really impresses me about these 2, and probably not so impressive to other people, maybe, I absolutely suck at front flippers, and both of these are not only easy to front flip, but it's satisfying. And when I tell you I suck at front flippers, on most other front flippers, I get that right there, and it just doesn't go. But these, both of them, every single time, and I freaking love it. I think they nailed it. Yeah, very well balanced.
That's a great question, Baxter. Will I ever let Swags design a slip joint? In fact, at a meeting 6 months ago, I said, hey, we're selling more slip joints than we are moderns, and we're probably going to head that direction. I expect that you guys will go find knives that you like and step into that realm as well. So the answer is yes, I will absolutely let Swags design a slip joint. She's just got to go out and find one she loves and then make it her own. Same with Chase, same with Hawkins. I have said that to them already. I said that, God, it's been almost 8 months since I said that. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, our part of our market right now has been traditionals. I mean, of course, I would love to see it move into moderns as well. But, I want those guys to design whatever they want, including fixed blades, which I just got 4 second-round revised samples this week. And I think these are the ones. These are the ones that are going to be the ones that go into production. So look for 4 new slip joint or 4 new fixed blades to start hitting the market. Probably, my guess is either end of Christmas time or beginning of the year. And those are all going to come in 1095 carbon steel.
Very nice. That's kind of go in the opposite direction. Will we see any of the slip joint patterns making the kind of modern route like we did here?
You're definitely going to see that happen. And I say that we'll find the patterns. that people love, and then make a conversion over to a modern traditional, or what I'm calling a modern traditional.
Right.
And that'd be anything that would have a button lock, or the modern screws, the modern materials and handles, the higher end steels. So if you think of RoseCraft as a gateway drug to GEC, you can probably think of RoseCraft and modern traditionals as a gateway drug to Jack Wolf. Does that make sense, what I'm trying to say there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I like to think of us as that gateway drug. Hey guys, you like this? It's $45 to $65. Enjoy it, learn what you like at this price, and then go spend some real dough with these other guys out there and enjoy their knives as well.
Right.
So Jim wants to know what are the size of the fixed blades, and I want to know who designed them.
Each one of us has a fixed blade in the mix. So I have one, Chase has one, Hawkins has one, and Swags has one. Swags has the smallest version, and I'll tease that one a little bit here. If you're familiar with the Pocket Monster, imagine a fixie that is slender version of a Pocket Monster and longer. It is still an EDC sized fixed blade that you could wear on your hip every day, and hardly anybody would know it was there. All the way up, if you want to vary from smallest to biggest, I finally got to do the Skinner that I wanted to do, and that's the biggest, and it comes out to 8.75 inches overall. So that's a pretty big fixed blade at that point. Lots of good stuff. This last little revision, we're looking at the handle materials used and what we want to order in those handle materials. Each one is likely going to come with a Kydex sheath with the universal mount so that you can carry it any way you want. But the knife size varies from that like 9-inch size down to probably, I think that Pocket Monster version is something about like that. Okay. It's that kind you can put on your hip and nobody knows it's there.
Yeah. Very nice. Or front pocket carry it, you know.
Yep. Or scout carry it on your back even.
Yeah, I'm the pocket carry type. I like to just drop the entire sheath. I'll take off the mounting option, drop the entire sheath into my pocket. So
I think there's a ton to be said for small fixed blades, and I'm gonna put you on the spot, Tim. I purposely did not watch any information on your snook, so tell me all about this knife you just did.
It was my design. It's called Blackwater Knife Company, and it's made in Cleveland, Georgia by my buddy Jacob, who owns Very Good Knife Company. That's the name of his company.
Nice.
I love his fixed blades. I went up there and spent the weekend with him, and we worked on designing it, making the very first one. I did a video of exactly how it's made. So it's USA materials, USA handmade. It's all hand ground. No CNC, no water jetting. Heat treat is done in-house. So 100% USA made, and we sold out of them the first day. And so
fantastic.
The next one that's coming out, Bonefish. And
nice.
I might have borrowed some inspiration from this because I've been saying this needs to be a fixed blade for forever. And so I might have borrowed a little inspiration from that. So, but my whole idea was to have the actual blade profile match the profile of the fish. So if you look at a snook fish, the blade profile was similar to a snook. If you look at a bonefish has a profile very similar to that. So
nice. So can I tell you what I liked when I saw it? So when I saw it, and what I really liked about the knives that I saw, kept watching them up, and like I said, I waited for this conversation so you could tell me about it. But to me, there's a simplicity to the knife that makes it beautiful. There is the simplicity and obvious care in how you would use it in hand makes a big difference for me, especially on an American-made. I don't know what the price point was. I'm not even going to ask. If you want to tell it, you can. But I would guess that it is probably a slightly above mid to higher end in that less than custom, but a little higher American-made fixie range. I look for that usability in that range. So if I'm going to spend that money, it not only has to get somebody's attention when I hold it, I have to be able to use it. And that knife completely looked like that from everything that I saw, especially all the different little versions that you had in different handle materials. I was fascinated to see those pop up. That was great.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Scab did a review and put it through its paces. And I was actually going to send one over to Jake and a couple other people. And then the drop just crept up on me too damn fast before I could ever even get them out there. Scab did a review. He loved it. So that was my goal, is to have something beautiful but simplistic, that's very usable. It had to be usable, and that's why I went with that spear point blade shape. I wanted it to be an all-purpose, do everything sort of thing. My idea was backyard bushcrafter, right? That's kind of what I was going for. Obviously, on this one, that's not going to be as much of an all-purpose blade because you're kind of limited with what you can do. It doesn't make it any less of a good blade. It's just different. So the price point on them, the 3 of them that had the micarta scales were under $200, and that's one thing.
No, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and
no, that's a fantastic price point.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're going for. Is USA made quality, doesn't have to be freaking $500 or $400, and so that's kind of what we're going for.
Yeah, well, I could tell you honestly, it's just straight up the prototypes that I had made USA from our models that we wanted to do from I won't tell you who made them, but we were going to have to be at, like, with the leather sheath, we're going to have to be at like 250, 260.
Yeah,
a knife. Yeah, to make money on it, just to make money on it. I think too many people, I think they know what goes into pricing a retail item, but they have no idea. And I hear people talk about it a lot, and they go off on it. And it's just like, guys, just, it's not rocket science, but you got to remember that you got to pay the factory, you got to pay all your overhead, you put the time into the design, you did all that. Now you got to think about packaging and shipping. Yep. Oh, and let's not forget that I've got to sell these to dealers too. Right. So the MSRP has to be high enough for me and my dealers to make some money. Right. So if you leave out that step, you're like, oh, you're gouging me. No, man, we're all making enough to barely keep the lights on, but we're doing it because we love it and we want to grow to be bigger. So it is what it is. I mean, I would hate to have a relationship with my dealers where they felt like they were getting screwed on every purchase. Right. So I try to place their pricing where they can I will make as much off of them as they make off of selling my knives. Does that make sense? So it's balanced between us when I sell a dealer price. So that's where the MSRP gets set. Did we cover all the cost? Can we both make a profit? And, it's funny that people talk about it as well, because Goldie Russell, y'all familiar with the H.E. Russell brand?
Yeah.
Goldie Russell pulled me aside several times, and I won't say exactly what she said, but she was very intent that my prices were too low. They needed to be higher, and you should always, she uses the old market rule, and I'm sure, Tim, you've heard this, Jay, you may have heard this too. It is, you should charge what the market will bear.
Yeah.
And that's what Apple does, right? Every one of us gets gouged by Apple every time we buy an Apple product because they charge what the market will bear. I will tell you, we don't do that. We try to do a formulaic kind of pricing that gets everybody paid pretty well and our overhead covered, and we keep the lights on, we keep making new knives. So all of that is out there. It's just funny to me what everybody thinks they know.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. And I'm just working with a small maker that's a one-man shop. But even there, just doing that, I learned a lot about the business and also a lot about how other knife makers are making their knives.
Yes.
It's pretty surprising, and I don't want to badmouth anybody. I'm not a knife maker. I designed a knife, and I'm going to design some more. But there's a whole lot of makers out there that really aren't making a damn thing. They buy a blank.
No, and I'll be the first to tell you too that I am not a maker. I have never run a grinding wheel. I have never made a knife from scratch. I value my fingers way too much as a designer and an artist. And so I will draw you a knife to spec, and then I will hand it to somebody that is way more talented than I am in heat treat and processing that drawing into making it work perfectly. And I say to my factory all the time, here is my vision to my specs. I want it as close as possible, but you are the experts.
Right.
Make sure that it works right.
Right.
And so that's a tit for tat relationship that you have with somebody who really knows what they're doing in the making process. Right. So, you know, that was not an easy.
No, that was really a great thing about working with Jacob from Very Good Knife Company, because I've bought a lot of his knives and I'm a big fan of a lot of his stuff. And so we've become friends. But working with him, one of the greatest things about him is I can just say, look, here's my design, here's my idea. Will this even work? Like when you go to stick it on the grinder, is this finger choil going to be a problem with the placement of the knife scales or whatever? And
Tim, you are right now where I started 17 years ago.
Yeah.
17, 18 years ago. And it is going, will this actually work? Right. And so then if you keep doing it, you begin to realize this is what works. This is how this functions. This is what I have to do to this knife. And I think there's nothing more satisfying, though, than sending a drawing to a factory and getting a sample back, and you can take that sample and lay it on 100% printout, and it's perfect.
Exactly.
It is exact. That is a fantastic feeling. But again, I'm sure you've already experienced this. It is the feeling of something that was in your head, then on paper, that comes and you hold it in your hand. There's nothing better than that. Nothing.
Yeah, no, it was.
And to find out that people like it enough to buy it all up from you.
Say what?
You know, I said then to find out that other people like it enough that they buy it all up from you. I mean, there's nothing better than that feeling in the world, right?
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to get it.
Yeah.
So
I know you guys want to just. Go ahead, Jake. I'm sorry to step on you.
I was going to say, when it comes to pricing, I try not to really interject my opinion on price anymore. I used to in my earlier videos, but what I've realized is everyone's budget's different. Everyone's priorities when it comes to getting value out of a knife, what they value is different. And if I'm willing to pay the price of the knife, if I went out and bought that knife, I really can't complain about the pricing because it was obviously a value to me where I felt it was fair to buy. So I try not to. I mean, every once in a while it still pops out, but for the most part, I try not to interject my thoughts on the price of the knife.
Yeah.
Right. And I can tell you from our end, we had, as part of the business plan, where we wanted to be in the market, you know, not particularly what the price point would be, but where do you fall in the market? So that's a sliding scale, right? So if I say, I don't want to be low budget end, I want to be mid-range, and I don't want to be high budget in, but this is still a sliding scale. At 5 years ago, mid-range was probably $10 to $15 less. Now it is $10 to $15 more, and maybe expanded even a little bit more in the middle. But I knew where I wanted to be quality-wise that would bring that rate. And I knew I didn't want to be sitting on, $60, $300 knives,
right?
So it just is what it is. You find that spot and you want to be in it.
Yep.
Somebody's asking here, can you tell us the clinch button lock version knives will be back in stock very soon? They are done. They are on the way. I will still have to check them all as they come in, and they will be back on the market at that point.
And are they going to be the same configurations, obviously minus the Ultim, which was a Blade Show exclusive, but the same 2 configurations as before?
They are actually I'm going to have some Ultim come back to me, so a little bit more, and I'm going to have the same 2 configurations as the black and the green. We may move forward and do something different beyond that. The Blade Show was the Blade Show knife. I don't know if it was the Blade Show exclusive.
Right.
It was the feature. That would probably be the better answer. But there won't be a lot of those. When those come in, they will go fast. I can tell you that right now.
Very nice.
And my internet froze. I told you it would happen at least twice. When did you say you expect those back in?
Very soon. They're done. They're done in production. They're on their way. So we'll have to wait for them to come in. Then we'll have to check them all, and then they will go back out.
Nice.
So that should be pretty darn soon. We'll see.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to say this because my other favorite video you did recently, Tim, was your trolling video. Because we've mentioned Ultim now, as Ultim is the ugliest handle material ever made. I laughed so hard in that video, and my takeaway from it, and I waited to say it to you until I knew we were going to be on here, is that 50% of that video everybody agreed with. It's just, it was all different 50%, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And so I just kept laughing because I remember being the social media guy back in the day and going, you just said eat crap all day long for one of those, let alone the vast array that came out of your mouth that morning. I laughed so hard. But it's, we all feel different about different knives, and that is what it is. I think Tim froze on us again.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Actually, I didn't even realize. But yeah, I'm a fan of Ultim. Tim isn't. I don't actually go out of my way to seek it out, but if I see it on a knife I like, I'll grab it.
I hated it when it first came out, but it's kind of grown on me over the years. Yeah. Did you finally get back in, Tim?
Yeah, I'm on a different network now, so this one will stay connected, but I might look pixelated. It is what it is.
Yeah, you were a little bit clearer before, but now we can at least hear and see you.
So
I don't know what all you missed, but my point was that everybody's 50% is different, and you agree with some of it, and you love some of it, and it's just funny. I think we sometimes all take ourselves just a little bit too seriously in this industry, and it's just it made me laugh so hard to watch that video because, I mean, at first I'm like, God, he's committing suicide right on YouTube, and then I went, no, I know where this is going. I just hope he hits the best highlights right in the middle of it.
Yep.
My whole idea with that video, I had to stop recording probably like 7 or 8 times because I couldn't keep a straight face. I was like, I wonder if I can offend every single knife and EDC guy in 5 minutes. And so I tried to think of everything possible from case knives to freaking Sabenzas. And
I can tell you where I've got to laughing the hardest. It was the point buck made fire. And I just was dying laughing. I actually carried that video into the other room to show my wife so she could see the whole thing.
I think most people knew that I was just joking because I'm guilty of 90% of the stuff that I was talking about.
Oh, sure. We all are.
Yeah. I had fun doing that.
But again, though, we all just take ourselves a little bit too seriously sometimes. It should be fun, right? Knife world should be fun. If you like doing it, do it. I mean, I'm wearing a Catzilla shirt right now. If you dig it, do it, man.
Yeah.
I bought a gas station knife. Look at this freaking monstrosity right here. I don't even know what side it opens from. Look at that monstrosity. This thing weighs.
My favorite part is that it's pixelated too.
It's like that in real life too, actually.
It's pixelated. It is. It's like that in real life.
It does it justice.
Yeah.
What were you set back for that, Jim? How much did you have to pay for that gas station knife?
I think it was $8.
Nice. Probably made in Pakistan.
Oh, I'm sure. So an $8.
Not that there's anything wrong with Pakistan.
$8 letter opener. So, but
yes,
I bought it because it was fun. What the hell? It should be fun. Right. And I looked at it and I was like, ooh, a gas station knife. Last time I bought a gas station knife was 30 years ago at least.
There are some fun knives out there. Look, I mean, I say this all the time. I get caught up in this. God, we've got to make the next greatest thing. We've got to do the next greatest blah, 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 blah. It can't be that. It can't be this. I get caught in that. And what I realize is that, like, there's an entire catalog. Have you guys ever seen a Bud K catalog?
Yeah.
That's all like my old Dragon Dagger, and it's all that stuff. And they make bank on that catalog, right? Yeah. So there's a market for everything. So don't take yourself so seriously from time to time. Just let it fly. If you have something that looks great and you want to put it out there, put it out there. It's all fun to me. Yep. And there are some other notions in the industry that. Go ahead, Jake. I'm sorry, I step on you again.
Oh, no, you're good. I was going to say the stuff they don't sell, they send into that mystery box. I remember like 7 or 8 years ago, those mystery boxes from Bud K used to dominate the airwaves over here. You'd watch them, and it would just be all these like dragon daggers, katanas, and all kinds of stuff. And then someone would go chop up the box in the backyard.
Speaking of
my first knife was a. Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
Speaking of katanas, I have a real katana back here that I'm going to do a video on that Joe Steele sent me.
Nice.
Wow.
He didn't design it, but he customized it, the handle wrap and the whatever from Romance of Men, who makes katanas. Actually, it's a wakizashi, which is a little shorter than katana, but that thing's freaking badass. Like, I don't need to go down another rabbit hole and start buying freaking swords, because I already love fixed blades, slit joints, and modern folders. The only thing left is swords. So, you know what I mean? So,
don't get into multi-tools next. Nope.
No.
Joe's videos are fun, especially when he's doing the sword one. Joe's put our Kafara through the test. I don't know if he's still doing it or not, but that D2 Kafara that we have, he really beat the hell out of it and did a good job. Plus, I just like listening to Joe talk. So
from New York, from Long Island.
Yes, he is from Long Island.
Yeah. No, I'm not into axes yet. I'm just going down one rabbit hole at a time. My newest thing is these freaking A-locks, Victorinox. Oh my God. So I got this Swiss Army 2 that I've been chasing forever, just because it has that hawkbill on it, right? It took me forever to find it, but I had to have that tiny little hawkbill. So now I'm addicted to these stupid Victorinox A-lock scales one. That's my newest rabbit hole.
Is that because the Swiss Army has to stop and do some gardening in the middle there, prune some branches?
No, I just like that. I just think you just don't see. You don't see a hawkbill on a Swiss Army.
Excuse me for a moment. I need to make this. I need to blend these two rose patterns together.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kidding, because that's traditionally what a
landscape. So now we know why.
There you go. I have to tell Baxter, since I keep seeing him pop up over here and he's on the screen right now, that I have made him. I made everybody in the whole team laugh from his review of the. It was either the Otter Creek or the Tanasi. And we were now putting the little green desiccant slips in there to keep any moisture off of the D2 as it travels. And he picks it up. He looks at it, doesn't explain what it is, just says, delicious, and sets it up to the other side.
Nice.
We have laughed at that all week.
I haven't seen that one. I gotta check it out.
Delicious.
iBrand. I've heard of iBrand, but I don't know iBrand. Are you familiar with that?
Right?
Yeah, originally a German company.
Yeah. Yep. They do the Clodbuster.
Yep. I actually think that that is a brand that SMOKY owns now.
Oh, really?
But I'm not positive. I'm pretty sure they were in the process of buying iBrand, German iBrand, when I was leaving. But I don't know if they actually got it or not. So, that is originally a Solingen German company, and German iBrand knives used to be hugely popular.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about Blade Show earlier in the show. Are you doing Blade Show West in?
No, we are skipping West this year, but we'll be in Texas and Atlanta.
That's what I meant. Texas, all the UK.
Texas will be in. Oh yeah. No, Slippy would kill me if we didn't hook up for dinner at that. I think he's trying to round up a whole bunch of us to meet and go to dinner and have a good time while we're at Blade Show with Texas.
I told him if he can make it out, I can make it out to Texas. Usually I just do Atlanta, but if he's going all the way from the UK.
Right. And you were part of that conversation at Atlanta this year. We were talking about Texas and talking about doing that.
Yep.
Jake, standing at the booth.
Yeah. I'm going to try to make it. That's in March, right?
It might be
it should be end of February. It may be February this year. Yeah.
And I think I'm going to do the Georgia Bushcraft.
Oh, nice.
fall thing in November.
That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of tent camping back in the day, primitive, bring your own water, that kind of shit, like real camping. But I don't think I've slept in a tent in like freaking, it has to be 10 years. So I'm going to be out there. All the bushcraft guys are going to have all their fancy setups and freaking paracord and shit everywhere. And I'm going to have my one little tent with an air mattress, and I'm going to be all.
He'll be sitting there with his hand pump going.
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost up, boys.
I'm almost there, and everybody else is going to be sleeping in the trees and shit.
Exactly. But it looks like you're right. Jesse said March 7th. I think he just got in too. So what's up, Jesse? I think someone whispered axe, and he showed up.
That's what it was. Jesse's
That's hilarious.
The axe guy. So are there any new handle materials that are coming soon? Anything like that? Or anything you thought about? I know the wood is the whole new thing going right now.
So I think the biggest change you're going to see when it comes to round 5, instead of coming with just one handle material for all the pieces at once, almost all of them are divided into 2. So if you have a pattern, say one pattern might be wood and the other one might be stag. So it's one single pattern, but it'll come both ways in the very beginning. Almost every pattern has a double with it. But no, not any particularly new patterns. You're going to get a couple new shields, which is going to be nice.
Cool.
And I explore handle materials with the factory all the time. I want a good. Y'all remember the acrylics that GEC did there for a while?
Yeah.
And that they were fabulous. I cannot find that, but I want to find an acrylic that speaks to me to go on one of these knives. I have not found one yet. So I'll be in search for that. I think it might be fun to do something that's totally off the wall. I know that we've talked about in the factory, we've talked about burlwood. We've talked about oxhorn. I'm leery of oxhorn because if you've never seen oxhorn, think of what's the best comparison to that? It reminds me so much of like a tortoiseshell glasses. You know what I'm talking about? Like where you have like different layers of color and transparency. And that's kind of what oxhorn does. But I'm so leery of that having cracks near the pins that I worry about horn in that way. So you may see that sometime in the future. Like I said, I'm in the middle of designing round 6 right now. I have 2 knives that are solid, another one that I really want to happen, but I can't get it right on in the design that I want, if that makes any sense. I found a very old John Premble that I think is a fantastic knife, but I can't get it modernized the way I want it. When I get that modernized, that will be the solid number 3. And then we'll have to add 2 more to it for round 6. But yeah, I'm always open to other handle materials. I'd love to hear suggestions of other handle materials, what you all like, that kind of stuff, because I can ask a factory for anything. Hell, I asked for Sandbar Stag a couple of months ago, and let me tell you, that's expensive.
Yeah, we're seeing Jigbone in the chat. I know Baxter mentioned the tomato acrylic by GEC. Also, the hummingbird acrylic is really cool.
I liked it. What was it, like butter and molasses one? It was black, yellow, and white.
Oh, yeah.
It was gorgeous. Jigbone. I can tell you where I am on Jigbone. My factory has never done true jigging. So until I get them to do jigging right the way I want it to, it will not come from us because I don't want it to look. There's a difference between a computer-driven looked jigging and what looks like a hand jigging. And I don't want computer-driven jigging unless I'm specifically doing something like the dragon scale jigging, which is a laser-etched jigging on the knife. So you'll see in round 5, we have a farmhand knife, which is a sodbuster style knife. And it's coming with, you know how the check patterns are on rifle stocks for grip? Yep. Mm-hmm. The diamond texture? Both those knives are wood, and they will both have a checked jigging in the handles for that kind of thing. Nice. But again, it's one of those things that we are growing up with our factory in this type of knife. They're doing a hell of a job, but we have to take it baby steps at a time to get the next style of knife. So we've done 2 blades. The next step is to get to a 3 blade, or it is get to a single back spring. It is to make sure we're getting the same quality we've done so far to bring to the next thing that comes out or the next level of knife things. Plus, I mean, I'll be dead honest. I think we've hit a time in the market where single blades just sell better than double blades.
Yeah, I think so.
And if I do a 3-blade, it's going to hit a lot of old timers, but I don't think it's going to be as preferential to younger folks out there. I mean, like Tim said, the Stockman's the dumbest pattern ever made. I'm kidding.
No, it is.
You know what I haven't seen before that I would like to see would be a collaboration with Hogue. Have you seen their like wooden handgun grips? To have like matched to the exact handgun grip would be so cool to me. Yes.
That would be very, very cool. You're talking about at that point, though, let's just do some logistics on that so that people out there understand that this kind of thing goes. Because I've done this too. I'm really good friends with Josh Basham at Red Hill Cutlery. He is one of our qualified RoseCraft dealers.
Right.
He is in bourbon country, right? They have a bourbon festival every year. They have a festival called Bourbon and Blades. And he has said he could get his hands on whiskey barrel wood for me anytime I want. He could tell me where I can buy it, who can provide it all of that. The thing about this, though, we've got to determine a pattern. We've got to find out how many cubic inches of X we need. Then we have to take that material, box it, buy it, box it, ship it overseas, hope nothing happens in transport, put it onto a knife, and then make sure that it's the way we want it as it comes back.
Right.
So just the sheer logistics of that and that process is going to bump a knife probably like by $15 to $20, right? So it's more than you would bump for a stag to be able to do that. And while I love what Hogue does with their grips and that kind of stuff, it's the same logistical problem. It is how much of that can I get from Hogue? How much do I need? Will it survive its trip over and get through customs into China? And can they put it on a knife in a way that I like coming back? And can I do that without having to make my customer pay an extra $25, $30 per knife?
Right.
And the real question becomes, is it worth it at that point? So I think there are a ton of great ideas for handle material. I think sometimes they just get unfeasible. So it starts to like spiral into this place that you can't afford it. So
Right. And I think when you get to that point for collectors where it's like me, like I would buy the matching grip and knife so that they go together. But at that point, I could just hire someone to customize the knife for me and do that. You know, it's going to be a similar type deal.
And you'd probably get it around the same price. Right. So you could probably pick up the pattern that you loved from us. But, you know, in that range, we go from $45 to $65, $70. And then have somebody rehandle it for you for probably the same price. I could sell you that with the handle on it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
What about some RoseCraft slips? Have you thought of anything like that?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. We have thought about that, and they are on their way with the button locks that are coming to me.
Oh, nice.
And we will have 2 sizes of slips. They are genuine leather. They have bright red stitching that runs on both sides, and they have the RoseCraft stamp right in the middle of them. So
very nice.
They look good, and I think they'll be at a price point that everybody can add a slip to their order, especially if they're trying to get to that $95 mark to get free shipping from us.
That's awesome.
Austin or
Hello,
Brian
Austin.
maybe jumped into the chat. Yeah.
Jim says Austin is his other enabler. I understand that.
Yeah.
Austin's my favorite guy on the planet.
Austin's been selling some RoseCraft blades, hasn't he?
He has been selling. He does a great job of it. He is a great guy just in general. And Austin does a great job for me in the sense that as a qualified RoseCraft dealer and the number that he sells, he can spot issues that happen and bring them to my attention, whereas I might not spot them as easily as he does because he'll do some initial volumes that are just insane on the day he releases a knife because he is, I mean, for lack of better terms, he's become the place to buy your RoseCraft. And so when they drop, a lot of people buy from Austin, but he is the one who can go, hey, man, we've got a guy telling me that this happened with their Otter Creek or this happened with their blankety blank. So that's important to me as, as a brand to be able to identify those kind of problems. And Austin does a great job of that. Plus, he's just a great guy, just flat out.
Yeah,
their reward program's really good too, and I think he sometimes ships out before I even order. Like he's telepathic how quickly these things are going out.
Yeah,
I'll put in an order. By the time I am able to get over to my Gmail, it'll say like, "Oh, your order shipped." It's like, how's it even possible?
So I do have a request for everybody here, because I see some of the people that are influencers as well here, and I know both of you guys do your own thing on your own channels. Slip Joint Sawyer just got added as a real ambassador for RoseCraft, and he just dropped a video on the Tanasi Lake Teardrop. Go call him a shill for me, because I think it'll be hilarious. Tell him shill Joint Sawyer.
I know exactly where that's coming from too. I know exactly.
No, he is awesome. I talk to Matt probably 3 times a week, because he walks his dog at the time that I wake up and check email. Yeah. So we end up I hear this wonderful English voice through Instagram chat while he's walking his dog. Andy, I think you should send this to me. So we talk a couple times a week at least.
So
but yeah, give him hell.
One thing that Austin does is he does those traditional pocket knife exclusives where he takes QSP or Devo and even Jack Wolf with some different covers or handle materials. And of course they cost a little more, but you can only get them there. Have you guys talked about anything like that? Maybe a TPK RoseCraft exclusive? That might be kind of cool.
We have talked about it. We have not arrived at a pattern that we both think will work best. Yeah. And then both of us get so busy that it gets pushed aside. But I will say, yes, we have talked about it. And yes, I want to do it. And I know that Austin wants to do it too. We're just going to find a pattern that really, really works for us and do it as an exclusive for TPK.
Yeah. That would be
so,
cool.
Yeah, I hope that probably within the next year we can do something like that. It's just a matter of, I mean, I try to tell this to people all the time. I think sometimes people think RoseCraft is way bigger than it is. It's not. I've got 2 out on paternity leave. I have one that shares a job somewhere else in the company and another that is always doing another job for the company. So largely it is me, my wife, and Clay doing most of the stuff that's out there, including checking knives in and packing your orders. So it doesn't leave a heck of a lot of time for some of the side stuff. And I would like to grow our staff to where we could do that a little bit more, but it's just getting people back in the building and making that happen. But yeah, no, I really want to do something with Austin, and he knows that. And he keeps throwing me patterns that I cringe at because I'm like, man, I don't know if we could do that one. We'll see. Yeah. But I don't want to give away any of the patterns. They're a little bit more difficult than what I've attempted so far, is what we've talked about. So we'll see where that goes.
And then one other thing, you talked about wanting to do stuff or maybe explore doing something with acrylic. Have you looked at any Kieranite?
I have not. I'm not a huge fan of Kieranite, but I would go with it if it looked good enough to me. What I'm looking for is something that is, I think people don't realize this. Historically speaking, it wasn't acrylic at that point, but it was celluloid. Celluloid knives were huge in 30s, 40s, 50s, back when petroleum starts to become a product and plastics start to happen. They were huge. I mean, cases still living off their yellow composition handles, right? Yeah. That grows straight out of giving somebody a work knife that they can beat the hell out of and nothing happens to it. So to me, while some people look at, say, a Kieranite or an acrylic and say, oh, that's just modern junk. It's not. It's heralding what happened in the past.
Right.
If I find something that I think looks fantastic, I will put it on a knife. That is for sure. And I do say this, my factory from time to time, and as an order comes in, I'll have a separate box that has handle materials that they're playing with, and they've stuck it in a knife and sent it to me so I can see what it is. I haven't found one I love yet, so we haven't done it. But, who knows?
Yeah.
Could do it pretty easily.
I'm funny about Kieranite. I like it on these Finch knives because they're not really traditional knives. They kind of have a traditional vibe, but it's a modern knife all the way. I don't love it on case knives. So I'm not sure how well it would play on a RoseCraft anyway,
Right. I think you're going to have that same relationship you have with the Zambezi, which is I either love it or I hate it.
Yeah.
It's the same way with, it was that way with, even though we sold them out pretty quickly, this knife, people either loved it, and that's stacked G10. So, that's why we bring it back in red sandalwood as well, because that kind of thing happens. So you just see what people like, go with it. I have no
I
idea.
love the Stack 210.
I think it's pretty. I carry it a lot.
For the follow-up, we need the Baja Blast 210.
Do you know how much Mountain Dew I drink? It's Diet Mountain Dew, but yeah, I could fully endorse a Baja Blast G10. That's hilarious.
That would be awesome.
And if dang universities didn't charge so much for licensing, I would love to do some licensed versions of some of these. Could you imagine a University of Georgia or Florida? I don't know, Clinch River Swayback.
Right.
Yes, I can imagine that.
Sorry.
With the correct
University of Tennessee,
the correct color orange on it, that would be nice for.
Yes, 100%. Yep. Hell, imagine it with the F shield in it.
Oh, you probably sell a few of those, I think.
Yeah.
You know, you could do any SEC team, well, except for Vanderbilt maybe, and sell a shit ton of them. You know? But I'm sure the licensing cost and
it's insane. It's insane. I've looked at it before. It's insane.
Yeah, I'm sure it's tough too because I know they have a relationship with Zippo already, and so if it were feasible, Case might have already went that route.
Yeah,
I saw Smoky Mountain just drop some Swiss Army knife with NHL teams on them. So Victorinox must have a license with the NHL.
Probably.
Yeah, which
Probably.
I thought was
interesting.
A weird marriage, Victorinox and the NHL, you know?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I know how the...
Got to throw your gloves down to be able to get to your knife, right?
I just can't imagine many Victorinox lovers that are really into the NHL. It just seems strange bedfellows, you know what I mean? I like it, but, you know, I'm sure it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I know we're running up on time, but back to that A-Locks. Are you getting into the different exclusive colors yet? That's where the rabbit hole really starts, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure. No, I'm still working on just the regular A-Locks models. Right now, I'm chasing that Swiss Army 7. There's one called the Swiss Army 7. And the thing is, we have these things at my job called a perfect week, where if you do a certain amount of shit, you get a $50 Amazon gift card. So it's one of those things where that's currently like my knife fund. And these Victorinox A-Locks models, sometimes they're on Amazon, sometimes they're not. It's like they're there for a day and then they disappear, especially these weird models like the Swiss Army 2, the Swiss Army 7, the ones that are more, I guess, Eurocentric or more European than your standard models.
Right.
So it's kind of a game trying to chase them down. But no, I'm not into all that precious A-Locks or whatever it's called. All the colors.
Oh, not the precious. Like they do an annual limited edition. So this year it's like the ugly color of brown, which I actually kind of like, but I'll admit it's an ugly color of brown. And then they have like DLT has a blue or royal blue, and then like a forest green version that are exclusive to DLT.
No, so I'm not there yet, but you know how the rabbit hole goes. Once you're down that rabbit hole, you're in it. So I'm sure that's coming.
They did a teal one year that was gorgeous. They did a teal A-Locks that was just fantastic. Yep. It was almost seafoam when it came out. It was just, and it shimmered a whole lot, which made a difference to me when I looked at it. Like they've had golds and browns, like Jake said, that I just hated. But like that seafoamish teal color was just gorgeous.
Yeah, I grabbed the classic in that one. I don't have it on me right now, but I do have it in my drawer.
Slippy got that winter exclusive.
Winter Magic, yeah.
Oh, that thing was beautiful, man. Yeah, that was nice. But apparently those sold out pretty damn quick. I think he got his on the secondary market and had to pay for it.
Yeah, I was trying to chase after it through just like retail, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to track one down, unfortunately.
All right, we are up against the clock, so we'll just call it right here if you guys are okay with that.
That works for me. Anything else you want to talk about, Andy?
No, I always have fun talking to you guys. I can come on, just shoot about knives and have a good time. We don't have to talk about RoseCraft if you want. I'm sure my boss probably wouldn't like that, but I'm down with that anytime. I like hanging out with the guys to see what they say here on the comments, and I've been laughing at Tyler Williams' comment that's been up for a while there about too good for those peasants. Yeah. But no, I always enjoy coming on with you guys. You guys do a great job. And anytime you want me, We'll come back. You guys want a giveaway for me to do tonight?
If you want to do it,
Yeah,
we're going to tell you now.
Let's do one that nobody has yet because they're not out yet. Let's do the red sandalwood Cane Creek.
How about
I'll hold
that?
it up so everybody can see again. Nobody will have it yet, and you'll have it before anybody else can have it. So
Heck
that
yeah.
is the red that is the red sandalwood Cane Creek Jack right there.
All right.
Yep,
So
yep.
we'll just, I don't know if we have any moderators here in the chat.
Yeah, both Bluminati and Cheeto Bandito just got in as well.
All right.
Cheeto
So
I'll drop D if I can find it.
we'll just do the old number game, 1 to 100, I guess. Closest without going over. Andy, you want to write down a number? You got something, or you want me to do it?
I'll do it, but I don't think I have a pin. But if you trust me, I'll just tell you what I'll just tell you what it is at the end.
Okay.
Or I could
Carve it
I
into
don't have
your
a
skin
pin
with one of
anywhere
the
near me.
on the back of your hand.
I could actually do it with one of the knives if I want. I'm kidding. Make the numbers out.
Exactly.
I have the number in my head already.
All right.
Actually, I could do it probably on my phone.
That works. What range are we working with? Did I miss that?
1 to 100, continental U.S., closest without going over.
Perfect. Yeah, I got the rolls up, just not the range. I'll put the start when Andy's ready.
Hang on.
No rush.
If I could find my notepad, that'd be the greatest thing on earth right now. You know, you sort things on your phone on a regular basis, and then you don't know where they actually went.
Yeah, half the time I just have to use the search feature because I don't know what folder I put it in.
Right?
There's a search feature?
On iPhone there is. I'm not sure about Android.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, there is a search feature on Android. Okay, I've got it.
All right, perfect. I'm going to put the start up. Roman and Kevin, make sure to re-put that in after the start as well. You can do the same guess, just so when we're going back, we don't miss you.
All right. There we go. We'll let this
And
run.
feel free to proxy if you're outside the United States. It is U.S. addresses only, but feel free to proxy on there if you are outside the U.S.
Yeah, so we've got that Cane Creek Jack, and what was the other one? I already forgot.
Zambezi.
Zambezi. Yeah, so those are coming out in the next couple weeks, folks. So you guys stay tuned for that. And they are sweet. All right, so we got some guesses rolling in here. Somebody's going to be the first one to get the new Cane Creek Jack. That's pretty freaking awesome. I was going to give away a gas station knife.
I see Kathleen's in here. She took home one of the first ones in one of your previous giveaways, I think.
She's a lucky dog all the time. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
But she left her knife when it came in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I forget which model it was, but I remember she won one of the first ones.
She has become a fan. And I appreciate that.
That was over on Slippy and TK show, wasn't it?
I believe so.
That she won.
Yeah, one Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning.
So I don't know if El Cap Addict is still here,
Chucky.
but I actually just won my first giveaway ever. I do a bunch of giveaways, but I've never won. And I got that Finch pipeline from Big Red EDC. So I won that along with a bunch of other stuff. Then just a few days later, I won that VOSTEED Acorn from Ken Faulkner. And El Cap left me a comment today that said, Bees Blades is pretty superstitious. He says that winds come in threes, and believe it or not, I won another one today that was not, it wasn't on a video or a channel or anything. I'm in a pass around group with Jake and some other guys, and there's what they do on QSP is when everybody's done reviewing it, they just give them away to somebody. So I won that QSP Vault that Justin Lundquist designed. Yeah, so 3 in the last 2 weeks. Freaking crazy. I need to buy a lottery ticket.
To answer Baxter, who came up in the comments, Blue Denim Micarta, Rosewood, both coming.
Nice.
Get my face out of that. Yeah.
That's freaking sweet.
Rosewood and then the blue denim micarta.
They both look awesome. They both have some awesome grain on them. All right, so does everybody have a guess in? Looks like the guesses are coming to a stop. So if we will throw up a stop sign.
Gotcha.
500. You're a little out of range.
All right. Throw up the stop sign. So whenever you're ready on that number.
What do we got?
Let's see if I can do it this way. Cut to the screen.
All right.
Let's see if I can do it. Will it take it? Will it take it? Let me get out of the way. This Cane Creek is the RCT 013. That is the number 13.
Perfect.
It is right there on the screen. 13.
That was the number I was going to pick, but because of Dan Marino, not because I always pick.
It would
have been your lucky number there for giveaway number 4.
Tyler Williams 17, splitting slices 14. They're both over.
Yeah, I saw an 8 from Groundhog.
Did you see 8? I didn't see it.
That down at the bottom, right above the stop sign. Groundhog has an 8. Dwayne Letterman had 7, but Groundhog is a little bit closer there.
14, right?
We do closest without going over.
Without going over. Wow.
Yeah. Looks like Groundhog with an 8.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's what I got.
That's what I'm seeing as well. Just going to go through one more time because I know once we missed one, so I always like to double check. But yeah, I'm seeing Groundhog again with the 8, so I'll put the Tim's information here. He beat me to it, so go ahead and just email Tim. He'll forward that over to Andy and get it shipped out to you.
Yep. Make sure you include an email address and your exact shipping address, and with your email, you'll get tracking once I ship it out.
Congratulations, Groundhog. Just shoot me over all your info. I will shoot it over to Andy, and you'll be the first one to have the new Cane Creek jack.
Yeah. Brian was right there with 14. Just barely missed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, congrats, Groundhog.
All right,
and
Andy.
Thank you, Andy, for putting together the giveaway.
Thanks for joining us.
No problem at all, guys.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Next week, we're going to be over on Jake's channel. So we will see you guys. Same bat time, different bat channel. Thank you, guys. We'll see you all.
Thanks, everyone. And thank you to our moderators, Bluminati and Cheeto Bandito this week. Appreciate you. Definitely check them out as well.
Yes, indeed.